Welcome to Ground Control. In this video, we're going to be covering the 6-month PM. So we start first by taking all of the panels off the machine. And if you have not removed any panels from the machine in the past, you can reference our video that covers removing the panels. So once you have all the panels removed, we're going to start with the two-stage vacuum filter system, which is on the left side of the machine. And there are multiple tubes that are connected to it, so we're going to remove those. So now with the two-stage system, the first thing you want to do before you remove the two-stage vacuum filter system, you want to remove these two hoses, which I've already done here. So you just pull them off the two barbs. It is wide here, so they do come off together. Just move that out of your way. Then you're going to want to loosen the two screws here. It's notched so that you can just slide out, and then it's keyed in the back for a second screw where you can drop it down. So we're going to do that real quick. I've already loosened the screws. And then you drop it down. Then you're going to want to take this tube, the cream colored tube, off. I've already removed the clamp. It's just a little bit easier to remove when you've pulled it down a little bit. Then you're going to want to remove this tube, the vacuum tube. And there's a red clip that goes on there that I already removed. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to do our maintenance on these two items here. Not just replacing the filters, but there's a couple extra steps. So I'm going to start with the second stage, which has the coalescing filter in it. You're just going to unscrew that. I'm going to take the clear part off, put it off to the side. We're not done with that. We have maintenance to do on that. But to replace this, we have to unscrew it. And then you're going to slide the filter off, and you're going to take your new one from your kit, and you're going to slide a new one on. In order to, we want to make sure that we redo the Teflon tape on here, but just all you're going to wind up doing is reinstalling it back onto the machine or back onto the casing. So that's that step. And then for this one, we're actually going to remove these 4 screws. Oops, pull that one out of. Okay, you're going to take this part, you're just going to set it off to the side. So right here is what we call the umbrella valve. And this little membrane you're going to take off. Normally it would be a little bit dirtier, but this is relatively new. When you handle these, you want to be relatively careful because you can rip them. But I'll pull this one out, and you'll notice there's a little tiny nub there. So when you put the new one in, it's going to go right into this hole right here. So we'll take that and we'll just push it down, and it'll click in place when it's in. I might have messed it up. There we go. Just like that, and then you're going to put your base back on with your elbow fitting. That one started. That was good. We'll just put it back together. You'll just do the same thing on the first stage. So on this side, it's just a mesh filter. So you can take that off, replace it. Remember to put Teflon tape on that. And then we just reverse the process. So you'll do the same thing on this side with the umbrella valve as well. But I'm just gonna put that back on. So now before we reinstall this, we'll just make sure everything lines up the way that it should, because these two tubes should be pointing in this direction. And then you'll take your John Guest fitting, or John Guest line, and insert. And then clamp. Make sure your clamp is on the hose. Reinsert on the barb. And then, oops, it's got to go towards the back. Okay, and then you'll tighten your screws back down, and then make sure you put your clamp back on. You're going to secure it with channel locks, but you can get it started first. And that actually slipped, so we'll push that. There we go. Get it started with my fingers. And then use channel locks to lock it in place. Just like that. And you make sure your screws are tightened back down and you put your tubes back on. Do the first stage, second stage, and you're good to go on that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to now work on the pre-filter, which is towards the top of the machine on that same side. So this is our pre-filter. So it's on that same side of the brewer that we were working on for the two-stage vacuum filters. So this one is tighter, and we want to make sure it's tighter to make sure we avoid any leaks. But this one, you just can use a pair of channel locks, hold onto the base of the filter, and turn to loosen. Then you can remove the cover. And in this case, with this mesh filter, you can rinse it out. And it is actually directional. So if you put it in the wrong way, it doesn't seat properly. So you just need to make sure it seats in there. And then when you're putting it back, it's just the reverse of what we just did. And then once you snug it, you're going to give it about a quarter turn with your channel locks. Just like that. And then that part is complete. Now we're going to move to the front of the machine, and we're going to actually change the umbrella valve at the spout, at the outlet for the coffee. All right, so we're going to remove these 3 hex head bolts. They're 1/4 inch, so you'll need a 1/4 inch drive. Loosen them up to start with. this whole block just slides down. So you see what that looks like. And then what you want to do is reach up in here and we get that umbrella, another umbrella valve, and you'll just remove that. Actually, we'll use a little pick to get it started. So again, that's just like the one that we removed for the two-stage filter system. And then you'll just take a new one and you'll just pop her back in place. Just like that. And you'll just put everything back. Now you want to just start each one of these, and you don't want to over tighten them, as we don't want to strip the threads. So you'll do one at a time in a circle. So in order to take the O-ring out, we have this little handy dandy tool, and you're just gonna work it out. And you're gonna remove it from the tubes. And then to put the new one on, just like you do for the brew basket O-rings, you're gonna put some Molykote, just spread it around the O-ring itself. And then you're gonna put her back into place. Just like that. And then you put your inner glass bulb back on and your outer glass, and you're good to go. So I did already take one of the O-rings out already. So now we're going to take the back O-ring off. Now we're going to put the new O-rings on, and we need to put Molykote on them. And so we'll just put a little bit on before we put the O-ring in place. And then we'll just slide it on. And remember to get the second one. It does help to actually slide them on if you have the Molykote, but they also get a little slippery, so just be patient.